Hello there and welcome. I am Grunkleknut. I'm excited for today. This is our first community spotlight stream. Our guest today is Lana Dingwall. I'm stoked to have you here. Lana is a valued and actively contributing member of the DAO for Unlock Protocol. A voting delegate, yes.
Yes.
Utilizes Unlock Protocol for your work as a grant round manager in the Green Pill and Gitcoin network. Your most recent initiative is I wrote this one down, right? Because I didn't want to tongue twister this one. A
Okay.
retroactive quadratic funding round of 7.7K Arbitrum from the Unlocked DAO Treasury to retroactively reward projects and individuals bringing to their events on chain. I'm stumbling now. It's really early on my end over here. Lana, thank you so much for being here. Can you introduce yourself a little bit and tell us about your background?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm recovering. I went to one of Unlock's on chain, like an event last night that used Unlock for ticketing.
That's so
Uh,
fun.
yeah, the Renaissance or Renaissance. So that was a lot of fun too. But I think, the other stuff, I actually use Unlock for a bunch of things, not just Green Pill. I use it anytime I've helped create essentially some like education series that pertain to teaching people a little bit more about how to run various grant mechanisms in the crypto space. So we've also used on-chain credentials for that. I'm here at ETH Global, and I'm submitting a really basic project, but it's going to also be using Unlock's on-chain credentials. They're just so easy to use and integrate that I try and do it whenever I can. And then some of the other stuff about my bio, I just like to say I'm kind of in this space, all things governance and grants. So I'm on a bunch of different boards. We're essentially community councils. I'm on the Gitcoin Community Council, the Octant Community Council, amongst other really amazing organizations as well. So I'm just like a crypto enthusiast, obsessor.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it blew my mind what was available to do through Unlock, right? And my first introduction to it was Stella and I use it for attendance tokens for our Friday streams we were doing. So, and at that point, I didn't. That was the thing that I thought it did, right? And
Mm.
as I have delved in a little bit further, it has blown my mind watching what people can do. So, how did you first become interested in the on-chain space?
I started learning a little bit about crypto. I honestly didn't know it was anything other than tokens and money for a long time. I think, like most people, I started learning a lot more about regenerative finance and the ways in which crypto is being used to tackle like climate issues, to experiment with like variations of UBI, public goods fundings, all that kind of stuff. And I started to fall down the rabbit hole and then just haven't left since.
The rabbit hole gets us all, right? And
Yeah.
I'm still relatively new. I think I've been in the Web3 space now for about 10 months. So I'm learning something new every single day. So and the acronyms get me, right? So I have no problem asking what acronyms are. So to everybody out there that I've blown up with a million questions, thank you very much. But so new to me for this one, Gitcoin. Can you explain what Gitcoin is and what it does and its role in the ecosystem?
Yeah. I mean, I think Gitcoin, like a lot of projects or protocols in the space, like continues to iterate and change. So originally it was created as like a grants platform and a way to distribute grant funding to predominantly like open source software projects. And so that side of public goods funding. And then as Gitcoin has grown, there's like a really active DAO component to it, but they started to develop their protocols so that anyone could run grants rounds. Originally, it was like just Gitcoin could run them. Now any ecosystem can run them. That's why we're using it with Unlock with our Arbitrum round. And now Gitcoin, I believe that they would probably describe themselves as a grants software platform. So you can either come and use a lot like Unlock. You can use some of their kind of like ready to use products. Like you can spin up a community round. The same way you can like, host an event and use on-chain ticketing pretty easy. But then you can also take the Allo grant stack and integrate it on the back end under the hood into whatever project or funding mechanism you might be like experimenting with. The same way with Unlock, you can have it be in the back end and not really know it's there, and it's just like a byproduct of something else that you're building.
I love that. No, the tech as I continue to look further and further into the tech, it blows my mind every time. So can you put grant round managing in the simplest of terms for someone? So this is a new term for me too, since I was looking into when we're going to start doing this. Can you explain that like the simplest terms for someone who hasn't heard that term before?
Sorry, you're kind of muffled.
Oh, am I muffled? Let's see. I wonder if we're coming through clear over there. Is that a little better? I'll lean
better.
in a little better for you. So can you explain grant round managing in like the simplest terms for someone like me who's very new to the term?
Yeah, I mean, I guess running a grant round is as simple as you collect a group, like a certain amount of funds, like with what we're doing with Unlock with this retro round. I threw up a proposal, I got people's feedback, I refined it, I got the thumbs up, like here's the amount of funding we're willing to give for the round. And then as the round operator or manager, my job is to essentially come up with like the criteria of the round, make sure that people applying to the round meet said criteria, help promote it, help market it so that people know what it's about. And then there's like the back end setup of it. And then there's obviously also like the community activation side of it.
I love the community involvement in everything we do Web3. Being new to DAO in general, Stella taught me what that term was. There was another acronym I had to ask about, so I love watching the way it works. I love the way everybody works together, and it's been pretty eye-opening in showing me what is possible out there and how people can work together to build all this stuff and work together in a great way that pushes everybody forward. So I went a little sideways on you there. So how does the Gitcoin network anchor into the work you're doing with Green Pill?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, Gitcoin was co-founded by the same person that kind of co-founded Green Pill. So there's that, Kevin Owocki. But I would say at the end of the day, like the Green Pill network is really about finding ways to use crypto to help regenerate the world. One of those ways and those avenues is funding allocation, which is what you're able to do with Gitcoin. And the communities like really overlap, especially because they're both a lot in like the regenerative crypto side. So again, regenerative just means like it's the normal word regeneration, and then using crypto to find and create like positive sum outcomes.
I love that. That is fantastic. So did your work with the Green Pill end up being the reason you got involved with Unlock Protocol?
No. Unlock Protocol predates Green Pill in my crypto history. I actually, I'm at an ETH Global Hackathon right now, which is why I have like a weird backup and weird sounds in the background.
Oh, I'm so low stress. I'm just happy to have you here. No worries.
Okay, perfect. So I met the Wonder Woman Who Code actually was working the booth for Unlock Protocol almost actually would be like a little over 2 years ago at ETH New York, 2 years ago. And I was hacking there and met Women Who Code, and we integrated them into our project. And I laugh, my partner Kate, who I'm here with, her team got first place, but we got second place. And then we kind of continued a relationship, learned more about Unlock. I do a lot of public speaking. So I actually moderated a bunch of panels that Chris was on, then met them again last year at ETH Waterloo in June last year. Same thing, hacked with them. Kate got first place prize again, but I did integrate Unlock into my project there as well. So I actually met them on like the hackathon circuit by integrating the protocol into like the backends of our projects, and then just through that became an ambassador and started contributing more in the DAO.
That's fantastic. It's got to be fun to go out into the public and go around and actually interact with the community that is using all this tech too. It's it's one of my favorite things is the interaction with the communities together. And honestly, that's what sucked me down the rabbit hole was my interactions with the people and how great they were and how positive they were about their projects. And like even watching you as the hyper positivity is my favorite thing in the world, right? Like we can do it, we can make it happen. And if we can't, we can ask for help and do it together, and that's one of my favorite things in life is just really like good teamwork makes a big difference. Right. So back to that grant round managing a little bit. So I saw that you have launched a second grant round with Unlock. half that question we asked. I jumped ahead a little bit, but
That's okay.
can you tell us a little bit more about that second grant round you just launched?
Yeah. So essentially, what we're looking to do, which is why it's a retroactive grant round, is essentially we're looking to reward anyone who has used Unlock like in any of the ways in which you can, because there's many. And as long as you've issued 50 keys or essentially like 50 NFTs on Arbitrum, you would qualify for this round. The other little things would be if you participated in the last round we did, you'd have to have either issued 50 new keys, or if you have a subscription, like you would have had to have 50 renewals. But other than that, we're trying to keep it like really easy and accessible. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm pretty sure that the event I went to, Regenaissance, I'm pretty sure that they actually chose to do ticketing with Unlock and put it on Arbitrum because of the round, because the guy who organized it was asking me if it would qualify. So it's also a sign that it worked. And that's what we saw the last time we ran it, is it really worked. And I mean, at the end of the day, Unlock is really, really easy to use. You just have to actually like sit down and figure out, oh, like that was really easy to set up an event, or like the ability to like do credentials is so easy, or proof of attendance, like everything is so easy. Setting up a subscription, so easy. So the goal of these rounds is also to encourage people who haven't used Unlock yet to actually like try and experiment with it and see if they can integrate it somehow and then qualify for the round, while also honoring the builders that have already integrated Unlock into their projects, and then being able to reward them with a little bit of retro funding.
That's awesome. So you don't have to have been there to participate in that. That is fantastic. So how does being on chain improve this process of managing grant rounds?
That's a good question. I mean, for
Like in comparison to Kickstarter or something like that.
yeah, I think, well, honestly, I think one of them is just obviously the traceability of your funds is one thing. Another is with these on-chain mechanisms, they also have different like ways of doing it that isn't so straightforward, where it's just like you donate $1 and your dollar only equals $1. There's a ton of different funding mechanisms that you can use that on-chain tooling really helps for, and it allows for like being able to use different stuff. So as an example, with QF, like quadratic funding, you don't need to do this on chain, but being able to do it on chain with like anti-Sybil tools in the back end. And part of that is like looking at a person's on-chain history. You're able to do like a lot of really cool things faster. You're obviously also able to fundraise and donate globally. So with Kickstarter, not like most people are actually like not able to access the funding, especially if they come from regions that probably need it the most. They're typically like blocked. So that doesn't happen with these rounds either. And with crypto, it's fun because it can be on different chains. You can give different types of tokens. There's a lot of really cool, like different things you can do. And then on my end, it's also easy to verify that you've met the criteria, because I can just look at your, I guess, ArbScan transaction, or a lot of people send their Dune dashboard links. So it makes like the verifying that you did what you said you did like really easy. And it's really hard to, like, someone can't really send you like a fake link because you'd notice it's a fake link. So there's also no like trust me bro, because everything's verifiable. So it also makes it easier on my end.
I like that a lot. Yeah, no, the full transparency and being able to have that be your checklist or your keys getting into stuff is a huge difference. And I love that you can just look and go. Like the trust me bro thing is a scary scenario. And just to touch back a little bit on what we just talked about before, for anybody out there that wants to look into this tech, I've used it now. I'm not on the level that everybody else is, but it's so simple. Like it really is so simple. It's I mean, if I keep saying that if I can do it, anybody can do it, you know. So we we've done a few, and I plan on doing more. So this is it's a totally usable thing that is approachable, and it seems to be limitless from what I've seen from what people are using. But back to these managing grant rounds. Can you walk us through a typical grant round and how it's set up?
I mean, it's on the back end, it's like really easy. I just create the round, like what I want it to be, who the round operators are. So there should be more than one. And I set up all the parameters to it. So everything kind of gets programmed into like a easy to use smart contract. And then I hit submit. So like the actual back end it's not that it's not hard. You just need to know how to do it. And a lot of running a good round is also just actually the communication to grantees, making sure that people who qualify are able to qualify. So I made sure that last round, you can only use this, you can only do this with blockchain. Like I could, because Dune isn't essentially open public data. Chris was from Unlock, was able to help me send me like a link to all the projects that would meet the criteria of 50 keys on Arbitrum between these dates. And I just like found people and messaged them like on Discord or Telegram or Twitter, like wherever I could find them, letting them know like, hey, you qualify for this round, like please apply. You can't do that like traditionally. Also, there's like I've never come across anything where, I mean, I'm currently in Brussels. I live in Ottawa, Canada. I think you said I know you live on like the West Coast time zone.
Yeah, I'm over on California, in California.
Yeah.
I'm a ways over.
Like where in what other world could events be happening simultaneously and or subscriptions happening simultaneously and or just something happening everywhere, and then everyone gets to just really easily with a couple of clicks and filling out a profile submit to like a grant round where they're able to access funding as like a thank you for supporting our tech. Like Eventbrite has never ever given me anything other than spam emails, and I don't even know what other ticketing tool, meetup.com, same thing. All I get is spam emails. I don't get any like retro rewards or payments for using their platform or bringing people to their platform. And so that's kind of the cool stuff with grants using blockchain. And then obviously like with Unlock, you don't have to be crypto native to use Unlock because it's very simple. You could use it for events. And then all of a sudden you could start qualifying for retro funding. Like that's pretty cool. I don't think that I've been in the events space for a long time, and I have never been retroactively rewarded from a platform for using it.
That's awesome. No, it seems like it's such a way more simple and rewarding scenario to be a part of rather than I've watched a lot of those Kickstarters and stuff, and you don't know where the money's going, you don't know how it got there, and this is all right for everybody to see. It's fantastic. So on that thread, can you share any maybe notable projects that have benefited from this type of grant system outside of our favorite Unlock protocol?
Oh my gosh, many. I mean, I'm not blanking. I'm just like, there's like actually so many. Grant allocation is a really big industry in crypto. And so there are tons of projects that didn't necessarily VC raise, but they got grants to kind of get started. And then maybe they did VC raise or they like launched a token. But I know even and it can be like gaming, live streaming, everything. Grants, you can get like $1 million grants. Like they're not, the one we're running with Unlock is just meant to be like a small community program, but there are $1 million grants out there. A project I support where we use Unlock for our credentials. We just got 20,000 ARB tokens it's a regenerative, it's like a refi project. Looking to use like distributed compute power to heat greenhouses and then kind of creating like a DAO around it. But like no other world would we be able to like access that funding. So not quickly, because obviously there's like reputation at play, but like your ability to access funding, and other people who also were allocated grants in that round are everywhere. Like some are in Brazil, some are in the Dominican Republic, some are in Nigeria. One is American based. So like we're Canadian based. So it's like, again, where else are you going to get access to like these pools of funding that are also fair? So it's not just like North Americans and Europeans accessing these funding. It's everyone accessing the funding, and then you kind of get to like build a community around it. So the grants are like, doesn't matter what industry you're building in, there's grants out there for you if you're willing to like explore crypto and come on chain.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, since I've dove into this Web3 space, my whole entire worldview has changed, right? It has opened up I've people in different countries, people different time zones in America for me, you know, like it's really opened my whole entire world, and it's been awesome dealing with all these people and getting to play stuff with them. You know, I'm gaming based for the most part, you know, and the utility is what sucked me in. So and I every day my goal is to learn something new, right? Like I kind of think of the way I approach stuff is like the common person who has not really heard this tech or heard of half these acronyms that we're talking about now, right? So my goal is to like every day understand something new, and I love learning from all of you guys. It's been a really fun experience. So are there any challenges you can think of that you faced while integrating blockchain tech into grant management?
No, I mean, I have a background in fundraising, and I mean, it was like signing people up to with their credit card, like was just as many steps as this. And yeah, and I think too, just like on your last point, for anyone, if you're not like very crypto native, takes time to be. Honestly, it's like driving a car. Like I'm a very good driver. I know how to drive my car. I love driving. I can't tell you what's under the hood of my car at all. Like if a light comes on, I take it to the shop. Like I know I need to get my oil changed and put gas in it and like change my tires because I live in Canada. So I need winter tires in the winter. I know how to operate it. I don't need to know everything about it. Same thing with our phones. Like I have an iPhone. It's iOS technology. I never think about iOS technology. I never like have learned anything about it, but it's what created the smartphone. It's how we went from like the BlackBerry / I had the Razor flip phone.
I love the Razor flip phone.
Yeah, I love the Razor flip phone too. But like we went from those to smartphones because Apple invented iOS. But like no one cares about iOS. They just know about all the apps that you can use. That's what blockchain is. Blockchain is like a software that operates on the bottom and then you build applications on top of it. You don't need to understand all of it in order to use it. You obviously want to understand it if you're going to build stuff, or you just hire people who know how to help build the stuff you want. So it's always like my reminder to people is you don't actually need to understand everything in order to explore it. You just need to know how to do it safely, like driving a car.
Yeah, see, I had a hard time with that at the beginning when I first jumped into the space. Was I felt like I really had to understand everything I was doing before I could do it, you know? And it's kind of the same thing. Like if my buttons moved on my keyboard right now, if somebody moved my stuff around, I'd be so lost. Like I hate when my stuff moves. But learning to like ask the right people the right questions and who to trust, and once I got over that and realized that I didn't have to know everything, it made it a whole lot easier to interact with everything I was doing. You know, I we are getting further and further away from understanding the tech that we're using too, as far as like the inner workings of how it goes, you know. So it's definitely becoming a part of life where yes, this works. I can't tell you why exactly it works, you know. And as much as I want to know everything that's going on with it, it's probably not going to happen. So, but I do love that the approachability of all this is fantastic. So yeah, so get in, work with the tech, work with it. It's not as scary as you think it is. Um, and if I can do it, anybody can do it. I came from literally just I'm playing video games to now where we've minted stuff and we've made token attendance stuff through Unlock, and it's asking the right person the right questions and being willing to admit you don't know something is always a big deal, right? Like it's hard to do.
Mhm.
It's hard to admit you don't know something, and it's hard to look like you don't know what you're doing, but it definitely helps to ask the questions. It's okay. Do it.
It is okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have a tech background. I mean, I'm 35, so I went to school like a long time ago. Like my undergrad is in gender studies and religion. Like it has zero to do with technology, business, anything. So I think parts of it are also just like I think people get stuck in like the identity of like, oh, I don't understand that stuff, and it's like, well, there's a learning curve for sure, but there's no like prerequisite. You just need to spend time learning. It's not like half the people. Like again, I would delete my own website if I could. Like I'm not a techie person. I just know how to use things safely and properly and how to integrate things from like a thought level, but like I'm not a developer.
Yeah, there's always somebody to ask for help or somebody that is in that field, right? Like I'll make you feel better. I'm 38, so I got you beat. We got you beat. That'll make you feel a little better. And then on top of that, my background is in sound engineering, right? So
Mhm.
it's funny because I grew up when I got taught all that, we were analog. We were hard cables into actual faders with boards. Like it was, and it's changed so much over that. Now people are making studio sounds out of their homes. So you adapt, you learn the new tech. Like we don't. I know how to use the digital audio workstations, but at the same time, I couldn't tell you the tech, like the code behind them. Versus signal path on an analog system is I get. So we we adapt and we move on. So it's been a fun deal learning all this stuff, and it's a lot less scary than I thought it was at the beginning. But like you said, like learning how to use it safely it was a big deal for me, and learning who I could trust to teach me to use it safely. So and people are out there and they're willing to help. So ask the questions. Okay, so we're gonna push ahead a little bit. We're gonna move on to the Unlock DAO now
Mhm.
with this. So um I know you're an active member in the DAO. What do you do for the DAO?
Um, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm a person where overarchingly, I'm not always like a role oriented person. I just like to contribute wherever I may be helpful and or wherever I think something's interesting and maybe want to learn. Um, so I originally started as like an ambassador. So I actually would go to conferences and hackathons like the one I'm at right now, and represent Unlock and talk to builders about their projects and like how maybe they could integrate Unlock into it, introduce people to Unlock if they hadn't already heard of us, all that kind of stuff. Then I started contributing more in the DAO. Um, and at first it was just like giving my ideas on DAO proposals. Then I started to obviously write some proposals, like with the grants thing that I'm doing. Uh, this will be like my second iteration of it. Exploring like the ways in which we can have an ambassador program, that kind of stuff. But yeah, I know some people like to have like a more, this is like specifically what I do, role. I feel like mine is a little bit, I like to support when I have an idea and I feel like that idea is worth contributing or exploring, then I'll do it. And then trying to support people like around that as well.
I love it. So how did you get involved with the DAO being so busy, right? And why do you think it's worth your time?
I mean, I really like the Unlock team. Like that's where I started contributing. Like I really liked. Well, I had met, like I said, Wonder Woman who coded a long time ago, but she's now like a contributor. She doesn't work on the core team anymore. And then I had met Chris so many times, and Julian again, pitching to them, and then also moderating some panels with them, and then going and being an ambassador with them, and actually like working with Julian at ETH New York last year. And so I just like really liked the team. I obviously liked the tech because I kept integrating them into my projects. So honestly, like being a DAO contributor was kind of just like the next step for it. And it was actually like Julian had said, like, we have a DAO, like you should get in there and contribute more. Like, you know, a lot about Unlock. So then I did that. And why I do it, I mean, yes, I know I have a lot of projects on the go. But I'm just a person that likes to follow their curiosity. And when you work in crypto, there's a lot of things to be curious about. And some things you might be like a really big contributor to. And then other things you might essentially be there when people need you. And again, contribute when you have something worth contributing. So I try and like balance that. And then I really like the people like Inlock also. Like I like the other contributors. I like that it's actually a smaller DAO. That's really nice. I contribute to some like larger DAOs, and there's always going to be bureaucracy in DAOs, period, because people coordinating is hard and messy. But it's a really good community to do and get into, especially if you're curious about DAOs and you want to contribute. It's a like way less intimidating group than some of the like larger scale DAOs that are like really robust and you have no idea like where or how to contribute. but that would be, yeah. And I use them a lot. So it's like, if I'm using Unlock for all of these things, like, why wouldn't I also contribute and be a delegate?
Yeah, that makes absolute sense. No, I've really enjoyed everybody that I've worked with so far, and like I said a little bit back, that's one of the things that sucked me in, was I really enjoyed the people that I was working with, that I was learning from, and it sucked me in further and further into this world. So it really is comforting knowing that the people that you're working with are like-minded and can get along. And I mean, you're always going to face conflict, but the conflict management is the biggest key. How do they deal with that? How do they move on from that? How do we come to some sort of like agreements in the middle? So how it actions speak a lot, right? Like they speak loud, and everything that I've seen so far from the DAO and the community that surrounds it has been fantastic, and I've really enjoyed poking my head in there and learning. So off the top of your head, is there any important milestones you can think of for the Unlock DAO?
I mean, I'm excited for the DAO to be moving to base, which, I mean, if you don't know a lot about crypto, then, you know, you can totally just disregard what I just said. But essentially, like because everything's on chain. So when how we kind of find consensus as a community is we use something called Snapshot, and Snapshot will allow you to vote on proposals based on like how many token unlocked, just like UDT you hold in your wallet. But that's like gasless, meaning you just don't pay anything, and it's not on chain, like it doesn't execute anything. So we use Snapshot as essentially a temperature check. And if it passes Snapshot, then it can move to Tally. Tally is an actual like on-chain voting thing. So essentially what that means is, like, if something passes on Tally, then it's executed, like no one can stop it. And Tally is essentially what we use to vote to distribute funds and resources to various things. So it's expensive, though. It's on Ethereum mainnet. It's just the gas fees are high, so we're moving to base, which I'm excited about, because my hope with that would be you get this in all DAOs. So it's not an Unlock thing. It's like very much everywhere. And I find in Unlock, you actually still have more people who are willing to contribute. But one of the downfalls to these network communities is there's people who do things, and then there's people who like to tell people to do things. And it's really recognizing that it's a DAO, you can contribute. So no one should be telling people what to do. People should be saying, okay, if I want this done, I'm going to do it myself, or I'm going to like create a working group and we can go do it ourselves. But I know for some people, maybe a barrier to that is how high the gas fees are in voting and things like that. So by moving to base, the hope would be that more people become delegates, or actually just use their own tokens to vote versus like delegating to someone else, because the gas fees will be cheaper and it'll be easier to kind of share your opinion and voice those things. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, I think high gas fees kept me out of a lot of stuff at the beginning of jumping in, whether it be like games or utility assets for stuff we use from that. So, and learning that whole scenario was kind of a big deal for me, because I had a couple oopsie moments right at the beginning where I moved stuff over where I shouldn't have, So yeah, so
that's normal though.
It happens. It's part of learning. My training wheels, I still have at least one training wheel on, so we're getting there. I'm learning, and it's been fun. So for new people that want to join the Unlock DAO, how would you recommend them getting involved?
I would say if you're like not crypto native, and that just means like if you don't already use crypto and do crypto stuff, it'd probably just joining our Discord, because it's easiest. Discord is not a crypto. It's used a lot, as you know, for gaming. So anyone watching this live stream probably likes gaming, so you probably already have Discord. So that's probably your path of least resistance. Join Unlock Discord, and there's a channel. Like I think it's called Unlock DAO or like Unlock Community, some one of those two.
Yeah, I believe we have the link for that in the description too. So yeah.
Okay, sweet. So go there, click in there, just even say hi. I'm new here, I want to learn. So that's one place. And if you're more crypto native, obviously still join Discord. But if you're on Farcaster, I would also like make sure that you're following the Unlock channel, like you're in the Unlock channel, and you're following Stella also because she gives a lot of really good updates. So those would probably be my recommendations.
I love it. Yeah, you nailed that perfectly, because Discord is kind of the thing that sucked me into a lot of these communities, because I already use Discord a lot, and it was easy to just shift over into that. And like you said, every community that I jumped into was like, hey, I'm new here. How do I do this? How do I get into this? And there's, I mean, nonstop people willing to help, which is always fantastic. And they were so like humble about it too, you know. Oh, no problem. Welcome. This is what you do. So yeah, Discord definitely is kind of like the easiest way to get in for people like me who are stuck in like a gaming mindset when it comes to on-chain technology and crypto. So in the next 6 months, is there anything that you're looking forward to concerning the DAO?
Oh, the next 6 months. I mean, running this grants program is one, and hopefully more. Like I think because we can essentially, as a community, use running these grants, like these small, because they're like smaller retro rounds, so they're not massive. We're pulling resources that were given to us from Arbitrum. It would be fun to be able to do the same with like Optimism or Base if we were able to access some other funding. And that would be a cool kind of like flywheel. So if Unlock DAO is being given funding from these blockchains or protocols for all of like the integrations and work, and then we actually use that funding to trickle down into the builders who are actually giving us that those transactions or those usages or those issued keys or locks created. I think that kind of like flywheel is good. And so I would hope that we'd be able to like do more of that, and obviously keep some of it for the DAO and build out the DAO's treasury. But I think that a healthy ecosystem is an ecosystem that figures out like that flywheel of allocation. And yeah, if you think of it like a champagne tower, you know, like you get some, like the DAO gets some funding and then it trickles down into everyone else, and that can keep things going. So that would be my hope for like the next 6 months, is getting to run a couple more programs.
I love it, and I can tell you hit the nail on the head too, because I can see Stella clapping in the back rooms over here.
Hopefully, as she's like, drinking from a champagne tower or something.
There you go. You're building it. She's about to go. No, that's fun to watch. All right, so we're getting to the end of this one right here. I like to keep everything light, and I don't know if you are a pizza person, but this is my thing. I'm gonna keep a running tally going forward with whatever we do. What favorite pizza topping and why?
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, it's so basic, but it's pepperoni.
I'm with you. That's too. I'm gonna put my vote on there for that one too. I'm all about that.
Just pepperoni. But like, because you can like, but my favorite pizza, I'll like elaborate, even though you just said one, because now
send it. Go
I'm
for
obviously
it. I'm
hungry.
all about it. Yeah,
I'm obviously hungry. If you're ever in Ottawa, check out Heartbreakers Pizza. But they have it's called the Sweetheart, and it's like this, like really yummy, like salami pepperoni, and it's so crispy, and it's like thin crust, and then they put like hot honey drizzle on it with like these like fried jalapenos.
I'm hungry now.
So good. I know. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be going getting pizza after this.
Sorry, I just, it's my thing. I had to do it. No, I'm with you on that. Pepperoni is my vote, and I feel like pepperoni is the base of which all great pizza is built. So excellent choice. Excellent choice. All right, so for people viewing this stream, how can they follow your work and stay updated with your latest developments?
Yes. Well, thank you for watching and tuning in. And if you have any questions, you can always just like shoot me a message. On Twitter, I'm Lanz Dings, so like LANZ DINGZ. And then on like Instagram, LinkedIn, Farcaster Lens, it's just Lana Dingwall, like my name as it's spelt. So I would definitely like reach out there. If you do use LinkedIn, I barely check it, so my apologies if I'm really delayed.
I got forced into that one too. So.
Yeah, it was just it's like the one I check the least. But yeah, feel free if you have questions or you're curious about anything that was discussed or not discussed. Feel free to shoot me a message. I like onboarding and supporting people.
I love it. Yeah, I believe we have all those links in the description for this video for anybody out there watching. So you can click on those that way. You can find your way in. To everybody that tuned in and watched today, thank you so much for being here. Lana, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I learned a ton. Like, I'm still super green to all this, so my goal is to always learn. But thank you for sharing your knowledge. Thank you for sharing your passions. And like I said, links are in the description. Get in, join, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions and learn. Like, if we don't ask questions and we don't learn, we're not growing. And if we're not growing, what are we doing here, right? So
Yes.
until next time, yeah, this was episode 1. We will update with the next ones, but thank you for taking time out of your day, and we appreciate you being here. And Stella and Ccarfi, thank you for being in the back room and setting all this up. Yeah, I appreciate you. I've enjoyed watching you clap every time a great point was made.
And apologies for everyone that had to wake up so early because I'm in Europe right now.
You're good. No problem at all. The sun is now starting to come up over here, so we're good. We're good. I'm awake and we're going. But until next time, thank you all. I am Grunkleknut. This is our guest, Lana Dingwall, and we'll catch you next time.